Hi, and welcome to Filmi Ladies. I am Beth, and with me is Pitu. And if you can't tell by my backdrop, we are talking about monster movies today, specifically Bhediya, which Pitu has gotten to see, but which is not playing within 60 miles of me. So sadly, I have not seen it yet, but I will see it because I am nothing if not a Varun Dhawan completist, apparently. Pitu, please tell me all about Bhediya. What am I missing?
Oh my God, it was so much fun. It was the best time I've had at the movies today, this year, watching Hindi movies. I have to specify because I loved Kantara, which was Telugu, and I loved Ponniyin Selvan, which was Hindi, and I thought Brahmastra was decent, but Bhedia was like the first Hindi movie year that just like blew me away. I literally just got home from the theater, scarfed my lunch down, and then logged on to Zoom to chat with you. But it was such a good, rollicking, good fest at the movies. I laughed out loud. There were people laughing out loud because it's a horror comedy. Very, very funny. It's brought to us by the same team that brought us Three. So it's part of the Maddock Films horror comedy universe, and they do comedy so well. It was so good. Deepak Dobriyal just made me laugh, and Varun Dhawan is so good at comedy anyway. So it was really funny. Abhishek Banerjee, hopefully I have his name right. He plays Janardhan. He was really funny too. But it was also a movie that made you think. It was also a movie that like took a very strong stand in the, in favor of environmental issues and in favor, against deforestation and things like that. And it also made me sad. I mean, I actually cried in the movie. So it really gave us everything. I experienced the full range of emotions in this film. And it was amazing. And there was a really good twist in it, which I know it just got into the theater. So there's no way for me to review this movie without giving spoilers. So if y'all intend to watch this movie, and you really, really should, in the theater, it's such a good experience.
Should
You
I
might
should
want
I like
to
take
see
my
it.
headphones out so you can talk about the spoiler and then you like go like this and I'll put them back in because I haven't seen it. So
Well, it's. I don't know how to review this movie without giving you spoilers, though. I can try. I can try.
try. See if you can do a
I will
couple
try.
more minutes without spoilers anyway.
I will try. But it was a really good movie. I greatly, greatly enjoyed it. And I would give it full points for writing. The writing was amazing. It was so well done. The dialogues were amazing. The character development was so good. The direction was fabulous. Amar Kaushik is the same director who gave us Three, which was also good. And I greatly enjoyed Three, but I have to say I enjoyed Bhediya far more. So I thought Three was good, but Bhediya is up here in no small part because Varun Dhawan is just pitch perfect. I've always liked Varun Dhawan, but I was never necessarily like a fan of his, but I am a bona fide Varun Dhawan fan now. The guy can do comedy. The guy can do action sequences. The guy can do romance. There's a scene in this movie where he's such a like smitten kitten and he's adorable.
Oh.
He's a good dancer. He's so good in emotional scenes as well. So yeah, I mean, this guy is
Oh.
he's really got it. He's
Wow.
If you like Varun Dhawan, you have to see this film in the theaters. It's worth it.
So is that the combination of factors that you feel made him perfect for the role? Is there anything
Yeah,
else that you think he specifically brings to it that maybe someone else couldn't have?
I think so. I think my favorite thing about Varun Dhawan is the fact that while he's very funny, he has like a really good sense of humor. He's also very goofy and endearing, which is why he can
Yeah.
also get away with a lot. Like he can
Yeah.
kind of push the envelope. And I don't know if this really counts as a spoiler, but because this is part of the same like Three horror universe, there's a tiny little special appearance by Rajkumar Rao. And I gotta tell you, I like Rajkumar Rao, but Rajkumar Rao has nowhere close to the screen presence that Varun Dhawan has. He just doesn't. He comes on screen and you're like, yeah, it's Rajkumar Rao, but he ain't no Varun Dhawan. So Varun Dhawan was just magnificent in this movie.
We were talking on the Khandan podcast when I was on there a couple weeks ago about Rajkumar Rao,
Mm.
and because we talked about Monica, oh my darling,
Oh yeah.
and we were talking about how I think one of the things that he brings to films is that he kind of disappears into characters a lot more than his contemporaries do. And so the flip side of that is that he does not bring automatic expectations to a film for audiences, except that he will be good, which is no small thing to expect. But right, but like we expect Vrindavan to be, we have more specific expectations of him and sort of you know, the masala weight that he carries very well, which Rajkumar Rao has not really been asked to do. Maybe he could do it, I don't know. But so I can see how getting him in for a cameo is not going to kind of carry the same punch as someone else appearing in a cameo, or him just being the lead of a film, right? Right. But he's kind of he's a very good actor, and partly why I think is because you don't see him, you see the role.
True, but I also think that with Rajkumar Rao, one of my complaints with him, although he's very good, is that he also does get typecast quite a bit. For example, he's great at playing the everyman guy, right? Like just the normal, ordinary person. But I can't imagine him as a city slicker. I can't imagine him as someone who's born with a silver spoon in his mouth. There's a lot of roles he can't do. There's just so much that Rajkumar Rao can't do. And that's fine. He plays to his strengths. He does the kind of films that he's good at. But there's a lot of stuff he can't really pull off. I think that is one of Varun Dhawan's strengths, where in this movie, for instance, he actually plays a city slicker. He plays someone from New Delhi who has come to this extremely remote part of Arunachal Pradesh in the Northeast. And he's in charge of basically building a road. Like they have to do this like infrastructure thing. And that's where the whole man versus nature, development versus sustainability, all of those arguments that we also saw in Kantara, those same themes kind of develop over here also. He also has that sort of like Delhi person's swagger and kind of like attitude, sort of like a chip on his shoulder, where he kind of like, it's Arunachal Pradesh, like who cares, you know? So there's a lot of things he brings to the role. I felt so many things towards his character. Like initially, I thought he was so annoying and such a slappable, smackable city slicker with his like uppity nests and everything. He's so stupid. Like he goes, well, he's not stupid. He is stupid. He goes through to these meetings with the villagers where he's trying to get them on his side, you know, to let him build the road or whatever, because they need permission. But he goes over there wearing his suits. Who does that? If you go to a meeting with all of these like village headmen or whatever, and you go there wearing like an expensive looking suit, like you've just walked out of some like, you know, fancy high rise in New Delhi, no one's going to listen to you. But he does that so well. And he's so snackable in his like superiority complex. And he gives this dialogue about how people don't care about nature. They want Netflix. And they don't want black bucks, they want Starbucks. And they, you know, they don't care about tigers, they care about Tiger Shroff. It's actually a dialogue that he delivers so well. And he's so punchable in that scene. I was like, okay, I love you, but I want to punch you right now. And of course, the villagers have none of it. And they were like, okay, no. But then he's also, when the bad thing happens to him, because in case this is not even a spoiler, the movie is about him turning into a werewolf.
Right.
And the whole film is about his predicament, basically, and it's comedy, but it's also a fable. And when he gets bitten by the werewolf, and then all these comedy hijinks where him and his cousin and his friend and Kriti Sanon, like all these people have to basically make him better, and you know, all of that. He's so funny in that. He's vulnerable. He's terrified. And there's like this really good scene where Kriti Sanon is basically, so she's a local and she's basically like, you know, trying to evangelize about like nature and the importance of protecting forests. She gives him this dialogue about how the northeastern forests are the lungs of India, and y'all city slickers would basically choke to death if it weren't for, you know, all of that. So she gives him this whole dialogue. And then there's this one scene where it's so beautiful, the forest and everything. And he's next to her and she goes, don't you feel like protecting this? Like, don't you see yourself living here one day? And then he just, you think he's going to say yes. And he looks around and he's like, no, I want to go. And only Varun Dhawan can do that. So I can't even imagine anyone else in this room. He killed it. He was pitch perfect. And I am a bona fide Varun Dhawan fan starting this movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, and we know that from previous episodes that you are a monster movie creature feature fan. So it is not too surprising to me that this is a film that A, you were excited to see, and B, won you over. How did everybody else in the film do?
So good. So the guy who plays his cousin Janardhan, he was hysterical. We saw him in 3 as well. And when that little cameo happens with Rajkumar Rao and everyone, there's a reason for that. But he was hysterical. He plays his very nerdy, cowardly cousin who's studying for his IAS exams, but he's clearly not particularly sharp and he's not like particularly intelligent, but he's so good. His comic timing is perfect. The way he did his dialogue delivery, I mean, the entire theater was snickering. It's a Saturday morning here in the Bay Area, and there were a lot of people in the theater, and people were like legit like laughing out loud at his dialogues. They were very good. And then there is an actor, I forget his name, but his name in the movie is Joe, and he's really funny as well. He's really good. Kriti Sanon was good. But my only complaint about this movie, there's only one thing that I will complain about. I really, really wish that they had cast a Northeastern actress for this role. It really was such a missed opportunity, especially when you're talking about, there's a really good scene in the movie where Varun Dhawan's friend, who is a local, and it's his contact in Arunachal Pradesh, that guy, Joe, there's a scene where he's really upset with Varun Dhawan and his cousin, and he basically, he has this sort of like monologue where he talks about how Northeastern Indians feel in India, where, you know, in big cities, they're teased, they're called Chinese, and there's all these jokes and this and that. He basically talks about the otherization that they feel. And he did that so incredibly well. There's also a scene where Bhaskar, that's Varun Dhawan, also schools his cousin because his cousin is studying for the IAS, but he keeps mixing up all the Northeastern states. Like he can't tell the difference between Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, all of that, which to be fair, most Indians are woefully ignorant, myself included. I mean, if someone like quizzed me and asked me the capital cities of all of those states, I would fumble as well. So it's a very clear criticism, and it's very welcomed, and I like that. My only beef was, why could you not have cast the local person in that movie played by Kriti Sanon? Why couldn't you have just done like some nice screen test and found some really talented Northeastern actress? She doesn't even have to be Arunachali, but just someone Northeastern. So that really like bummed me out, but she was good. I don't have any complaints about Kriti herself.
I'm remembering that great film, whose name I cannot pronounce, Axone.
Yeah.
Say it.
So good.
What? How do you say it?
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
But a couple years ago that focused on Northeast immigrants in New Delhi. That was so good and had a much more appropriate cast.
Yeah. And the only other time I feel like I've seen a Northeastern actress apart from that film wasn't there a Northeastern actress really good, Jilmil in Badhai though.
Yes, there was. She was
really
quite good. Because you know what film it wasn't in was, of course, Mary Comb.
Oh yeah, I haven't even seen Mary Comb because no. But yeah, that was like, really, you're gonna have Priyanka Chopra play Mary Comb? Okay. Yeah, but that was kind of like my only beef about the movie. But I really liked it, and I am such a gigantic monster movie fan. Like my favorite movies have like dinosaurs, tigers, anacondas, all of that. There's a scene in this movie where I think Kriti Sanon says to Varun Dhawan that, you know, you're just a human and you're not even worthy of being an animal. And I was like actually clapping in the theater because I'm 100% an animal person and not so much a fan of humans myself. And the movie actually began. It was so funny because we're so used to seeing these idiotic Karan Johar movies that begin with like a picture of his father and the picture of all these pictures of all these dearly departed people. And this movie actually had a photo of 3 dogs, and it said, "Our furry inspirations." And it was Varun Dhawan's dog, the producer Dinesh Vijan's dog, and the director Amar Kaushik's dog. And I was like, yee! From that moment, I knew I was gonna like this movie, but it was fun. And I have to say the CGI was really good. The wolves were fantastic. I enjoyed it very greatly. And there's a lot of fun inside jokes. Like from Jungle Book, you know, they used to have that Jungle Book TV show in India, and there's that song Jungle Jungle Pata Chala Hai Chaddi Pehen Ke Phool Khilaye. So anytime you see Varun Dhawan is in his underwear, they have that. By the way, for women who are attracted to Varun Dhawan, he unfortunately does nothing for me. But for you, Beth, you will enjoy. There are several shots of his booty. And I can objectively say he has an attractive bum. So please enjoy.
Thank you. Is there anything more spoilery you would like to talk about with this, or have we covered kind of
the biggest spoiler, and so I won't give that away. There is a twist in the movie, and I was very extremely pleased with that twist, just to say, because there was this big twist coming in. Again, as I've said in previous episodes, I'm stupid. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and I never figure anything out. Yeah, so I knew there was something up, but I didn't know who that person was going to be, and the twist really surprised me, and I was extremely very pleased by it. And I think as a filmy lady, you will also be very happy about that. I'm telling you, there was nothing I disliked about this movie. I just really wish they'd cast a Northeastern actress. That's it. Even the music was great.
Let's talk a little bit about how it fits in with other. So first of all, maybe other. I have only seen a very few werewolf films. I of course have seen A Werewolf in London, but it's been a long time. I'm trying to think other werewolf movies I know of, maybe you know of more, and how does this fit with those?
So Bhediya, I think, has certainly been marketed as India's first werewolf movie, which kind of makes sense because werewolves are not really a part of Indian lore. I mean, we love our horror stories and we love our mythical beasts and fables, but I mean, I certainly have not heard of werewolves growing up, just as, vampires, that's not an Indian thing either. That's imported as well. And there's actually a reference to that in the film where someone says werewolves, like that's like not even an Indian thing. And one of the characters in it, Abhishek Banerjee, he basically says, well, no, that's not true. No, not Abhishek Banerjee, Deepak Dobriyal, who is also amazing, by the way. Yeah. He says, no, there is a mythical like wolf man creature in some ancient text somewhere, but it's not really an Indian thing. I think Indian monsters, there's certainly the man-eating tigers, which we will come to, and the lions. And there's actually, of course, the Ichadhari Nagins, right? Like there's all those movies we've seen with like women going hiss. Yeah.
My favorite.
So there's a scene. So oh my God, Beth, you're going to enjoy this movie.
I can't wait to see this movie. I was like checking every hour. I was like refreshing Fandango on my phone. I was like, where is this movie? I'm really mad.
You need to move here. Move to California.
On my museum salary.
I who moved to California, so you should do it too. Move for the movies because we get all movies here.
Don't go to Chicago suburbs. Just go to California. Yeah.
Just do it. I mean, avoid the winter altogether, right? Just come here. We'll have a great time. We'll go to the movies together. So there's a scene where Abhishek Banerjee, I mean, he basically, I think, plays kind of the audience's role in a way because he asks all these questions. Sure. And he asked Gabriel where he was like, what do you mean like Ichadhari Bhediya, like a wolf that, changes his form like a shapeshifter? That's not a thing. Nagin or Ichadhari, like snakes do that. And Deepak Dobriyal is like, oh, so only snakes can do it? Like only snake women can do it? Why can't wolves do it? And I was like, yeah, actually, you know what? Why not? In fact, my cat, Professor Minerva McGonagall, who everyone knows as Minu Minu, is named after the great Professor Minerva McGonagall of the Harry Potter films, and she's the professor of shapeshifting. She's a calico cat and a human being, Maggie Smith. So there you go. No animal should have a monopoly over shapeshifting, Beth.
No, I certainly agree. Humans and all sorts of animals.
Everyone should be allowed to shapeshift. In fact, I want to shapeshift into something.
When I learned I wasn't going to get to see this film for the podcast or, at all until it comes out on streaming
or for
life, I started looking at other shape-shifting monster films from India. So if we draw a distinction between ghost,
yes,
witch, so like not Bulbul and not a dead spirit, like not those
zombies.
Zombies, then like really the bulk of Indian horror films that I'm familiar with, and I am more familiar with these than I thought I was. It's kind of interesting. But really there aren't as nearly as many animals other than snakes. Snakes really dominate, of course. And then that's also usually has a religious aspect to it, as far as I can not always, but there's like the snakes are deities in some way or other.
Yeah.
So this is really cool. And I love because monsters always speak about some cultural fear or whatever. So I like when things are imported. And when we talked about zombie movies, we talked about what are the fears being represented by those. So it sounds like environmental destruction is certainly key in here, which of course is a classic, at least as far back as Godzilla, if not more, I would assume more. So I
mean, even the Jurassic movies, which I'm a gigantic fan of, I mean, even that is basically about the same. I mean, that's not so much about environmental destruction. That's more about like mad scientists recreating things that are best left extinct and, stuff like that.
Frankensteinish.
That sort of meddling. Yeah.
No meddling.
No meddling. Let's not meddle. But no, Bhediya is, I'm so excited. I had so much fun. And the other thing about like what I really enjoy about monsters, well, there's different kind of monsters, right? Like there's Godzilla and there's Kong, and I love them both. But they're not exactly like cuddly and cute. And snakes are not cuddly and cute at all.
Oh, no.
But the thing about werewolves is that at the end of the day, they're not that different from dogs. And so it's like, if you're like a dog lover, and I've owned dogs my whole life, it's like pretty awesome. I mean, except for the time when they're like snarling at the screen and stuff. I mean, they basically just look like a big old German Shepherd at the dog park, It's kind of like, oh, you're so cute. I know you can rip my throat out, but I'm so here cute. For it.
We need like a were puppy.
He's so cute. Yes. They were gorgeous. The wolves were just absolutely gorgeous. And my favorite, I did not enjoy Game of Thrones. People who like Game of Thrones, don't at me. I hate that series. It's so stupid. Having said that, I love the dire wolves in Game of Thrones. And when they killed those dire wolves and then the dire wolves were all like separated, I was like, this series is bullshit. I ain't watching this crap anymore. And I switched off because I didn't care about the people dying. Who cares about that? I didn't want the puppies to die.
No.
So tell us about your monster movie.
Oh, yeah. So I went looking for something to see that I hopefully hadn't already seen. And I actually couldn't come up with anything that really felt like a monster movie. And so I went for one of the Ramsay Brothers films, which actually was also not a monster movie, but it was kind of that middle ground of like, there's an old Haveli in the forest.
Of course.
There's stalkers who did, there's a bad brother and a good brother and a treasure. And this is Takana, which actually I had seen before, but I had no memory of whatsoever. But it very much fits a lot of the Ramsay templates. If you've seen a few of their films, a lot of this will be.
Was there a woman in a transparent night dress?
I don't think that we actually got the full night dress, but we definitely got, clinging saris. There's a shower where someone's showering with a swimsuit on, as one does, and all that.
Okay.
Women in horror movies in India are always and forever taking showers in a swimsuit. I've seen this so many times I can't even tell you. And if any of our listeners are familiar with the Harinam Singh films, he is like several notches below Ramsay's in terms of budget and competence, but there's this great movie called Shaitani Dracula that you have to watch immediately. It's so terrible. It is so amazing. I've seen it many times. I just freaking love this film. But anyway.
Beth, this is what you spend your free time doing when you're not at work. You watch things like Shaitani Dracula multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm amazed, but also this is why I love you.
I know. And people will be like, you've seen that movie? I'm like, I have seen that movie many times.
I'm going to like gingerly walk away from you.
It's not very long, so it's easy to watch it many times. Like this movie, I think someone I know, and it may have even been me, said, I feel like the budget of this movie was the change found in the couch cushions, like it's, anyway, off track. So this particular movie, the monster is a reanimated Dark Lord. He maybe is made of mud as well as human flesh. I don't know, but like he needs the spirits of an innocent who's sacrificed to like reanimate him and stuff. So it's got a little bit of a Dracula feel, a little bit of a Frankenstein's monster kind of feel, and then just various sort of tantric-y sort of stuff. And I love all this stuff. There's never anyone with the like skull necklace on or anything, but it's got, we're in a dungeon, and it's super great. You should definitely see it. Lots of whooshing wind and like woo sound effects and monster noises like that. So I love all of the Ramsay films that I've seen. This one is available with subtitles various places, so you can, even if you don't speak Hindi, watch it. I have seen quite a few of these films without subtitles because that's the only way they exist. And I know that I'm not getting everything, but you can still get the basic gist.
What is there to get? They're not having intellectual conversations.
Well, I do really like the details of who put the curse in place. What is the exact nature of this family, disagreement? Because really these are families who are mad at each other, right? That's really the bulk of what's going on here. And then, someone is an evil rapist and someone is greedy and those are the same people often. I like, and then this one has, as its comedy plot, has Rajendranath, who I love. He's he's like my favorite comedy uncle of all time. He's often paired with our favorite Shashi Kapoor. This is obviously this is from 1986. He comes out, he has the glasses with the windshield wipers on them. And he's barely in it. So that's the right amount of comedy uncle, even for him at this point. It's got Puneet Isar is in it.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. And Hemant Burjay, who played Tarzan.
Oh, yeah, Tarzan. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you weren't sure that he played Tarzan, when they introduce him on the screen, he gets a background. Okay. So you're like, I have seen that movie, but okay. It's got exactly the people in it you would expect to have in it. The music is strong. It's got, it's sung by people you for sure know who they are. So it's a good time. I can't imagine anyone who's hearing me talk has not seen a Ramsay Brothers film, but I do know we have friends on Twitter who are, have mostly watched post 2000s Hindi films. So they actually haven't seen any Ramsay Brothers. Melanie, I'm talking to you. Watch some Ramsay Brothers. This is a friend. Melanie. She's getting her PhD in Bollywood. She's not seen a Ramsay Brothers film as of that I'm aware of. So I was like, Melanie, you have to do this. This is not acceptable. You have to see at least one. You don't have to like it. You got to try one. So that's my monster movie that I saw. But let's talk about the were-tiger in the room.
Junoon. It is so hideously ugly.
Poor Pitu has been looking at this the whole time we've been recording, and I put it there just so she would laugh when she came on, and she did. So I first heard
always records this Zoom because she has like a professional account and all that. So I always join the meeting. And usually there's Beth and she's being all like smiley and sweet as usual. And behind her we always have the Haveli. And today I was rushing. I came home from the theater. I made my tea. I was having my lunch. I log on and then I was like, what is that?
As you can tell, I take a lot of screen grabs while I watch movies. Usually it's mostly just for my own sort of note taking, because it helps me remember what I've seen. But I was like, oh, well, if I have hundreds of screen grabs, I might as well use one of them for fun and good times. So I first heard about this film, to my knowledge, just under a year and a half ago. I somehow had never heard of it. I'm not a Mahesh Bhatt completist by any means. So this had not registered to me. And
that means you don't have to watch Sadak 2, by the way.
Right. I love the heck out of this movie. I wrote about it, which I can put a link to the article I wrote about it. I think it was super fun. I loved everyone in it. Even this actor whose name I forget I'd seen him in something else, and he really just seems like a ferret. I was kind of rodent-y, and I didn't like him. And people were like, oh, well, you have to see Junoon then. I was like, what is this movie of which you speak? Because obviously, if you're me, the Junoon you're familiar with is the very arty, restrained, politically commentating Shashi Kapoor one from the late 70s.
I have to tell our viewers / listeners, this is what Beth and my conversations are like. So we were discussing on WhatsApp. I was like, okay, I'm going to go watch Bhediya and then, we'll do a recording, blah, blah, blah. So I go, by the way, we should also talk about Junoon. And then she goes, oh yeah, I've seen that movie. I love it. And I'm like, no, I'm not talking about the Shashi Kapoor and Nafees Ali Junoon. I'm talking about the tiger Junoon. And she's like, yeah, I know. I love it. And I was like, this woman is drunk or she just woke up from a nap. So I will repeat myself. So I go, no. This is I'm talking about the tiger movie, the one with Rahul Roy in it. And she's like, yes, I know. I love that movie. And I'm like, okay, I tried. But apparently she loves Junoon. But there's a reference to it in Bhediya, by the way.
As there should be, because I think, as far as I can tell, it's the only fill in the blank film,
were beast,
at least of any kind of sizable budget and release that anyone talks about in Indian cinema. I really hope I'm wrong. I hope there are some from other languages or whatever, but I did kind of troll around in Bengali for a little bit and didn't get anywhere. So this is the reference, and it's so fun. And if you are a person who, like me, cannot handle horror films from the US, Britain, South Korea, and you are interested in trying Indian horror films, but are worried they're too scary for you, they will not be too scary for you for the most part. This is not that scary. Ramsay Brothers movies are not that scary. Like, I can do it. You can do it. Watch this movie. It's so fun.
We can get people to start with these movies that you recommend, Beth. And then once we've built up their strength and their moral fortitude, and then we'll get them to watch the movies I love. We'll get them to watch Tumbad, and we'll get them to watch Train to Busan. We'll get them to watch
Tumbad was very scary to me, but it took a long time.
Tumbad was the scariest movie I've seen in like forever. And I watch a lot of horror, but it was so scary.
Very scary. My favorite thing about Junoon is that it is so, like, it's kind of sleazy and gross, but it also judges the sleaziness and the grossness in a way. It's got that exploitationer's gambit of like, I have to show the gross thing in order to comment on the gross thing. I think they walk that line. Which, by the way,
sounds like a metaphor for Mahesh Bhatt.
You said it, not me. I fully agree. I actually watched, so in between having watched this film and now I've read the really good biography of Parveen Babi that came out last year or 2 years ago. And I was like, I mean, I kind of knew that story a little bit, but really getting into it, I was like,
yeah, talk about making money off of your exes, man. That's some bad karma right there.
That really is. I really loved this movie. I thought everyone was really well cast. I thought Pooja Bhatt, who I've not seen in very much, I really enjoyed her. I love that she's a doctor. So like the woman is the scientist. I love that we have the kind of folk wisdom, or, I'm trying to think of, I don't know the most respectful terminology to call, like the wisdom of the people who are in the forest, who, know the lore of the were tiger and like the myth of the king who was killed by a tiger and blah, blah, blah. There's like, I love people who stumble into an ancient cave and see an ancient prophecy and then instantly get eaten by tigers. Like that is all.
I mean, that's why we watch movies though, right? Like if I hate it when people are like, I don't like that movie, it's so unrealistic. Dude, if I wanted realism, my life is realistic. I get up, I take care of my pets, I go to work, I work all day, I come home, I'm exhausted. I don't need a movie about that. I want a movie about Purani Havelis and Khandars and evil beasties lurking about and how we're going to save ourselves. And I want that adrenaline rush. Like, why are you even watching movies if you just want to see like slice of life stuff all the time, right? This is why we enjoy monsters. Yeah. But I forget because it's been so long since I saw Junoon. It's been both Junoons, actually. I have to clarify. Both Junoons. It's been an age. Why exactly does he turn into a tiger, Rahul Roy? Like, what's
because there's a tiger spirit that's been possessing people for centuries because it was wrongfully killed by a king in the forest or something like that. Something about hunting and, don't kill animals, you guys, because then they'll come back and haunt you and then kill people.
Yeah. But did he kill a tiger, Rahul Roy? He doesn't look like he could kill anything.
Well, they instantly go out to the forest to go hunting in the beginning, but I think that he managed, wait a minute. You know what? I should have looked this up before we started. I think maybe he does. I think he does kill the tiger because then its spirit goes into him.
Okay.
I think.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's basically kind of like a revenge drama then.
Yeah.
Okay. And then does he get saved in the end? What happens in the end?
I don't think so. I think well, because then he starts attacking people in a glamorous hotel in the city, and then
as one does.
And his wife figures out what's going on and like tricks him into, because then there's a temple at the end, like there's the old temple out in the forest, and like it's all good.
So Pooja Bhatt is not his wife then? Oh, she is his wife.
Yeah.
And she's the doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she's supposed to marry she's in love with this other guy, and he's a struggling film musician, and her parents are like, nah, you should marry
Okay.
this rich, talking about like rich urban horrible people as you were in the previous, film. So that's what Rahul Roy is. And then but
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
It's complicated and good. Also, Tom Alter is in this movie, and I love Tom Alter.
What is his role in
Tom
this movie?
Alter is, he's the so there's two white guys who are in Bollywood movies of this
Yes.
genre, basically, right? So there's Bob Christo, who's bald and like beefy and beats people up.
And has
There's
the VAT 69.
Right. And then there's occasionally a third guy named Gavin something, I forget, who is also just a hench person. Tom Alter in this one plays like a scholar, forest ranger scholar guy who lives in the forest, and he has all these books that talk about the curse. And so it's interesting that I don't remember if they actually are, if he's supposed to be English or what, but he's just like white guy in the forest.
Yeah.
I love how that gets used
Yeah,
with Tom Alter. They're just like, he's famous for having, he's famous for having good Hindi. So they're just like, yeah, he's fine. We don't need to explain his presence whatsoever. Sure, why not? The world is cosmopolitan. So he's there adding a bit of gravitas. He does not meet a good end in this film either. This film has a high body count. But the best part of this film is, of course, the were-tiger makeup transformation. They use the same sequence multiple times, but all the close-ups of like the teeth growing and the whiskers spouting and like hair growing on the arms and claws. Yeah. You can watch that on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth a watch. Even just that. I mean, watch the whole film, but definitely watch the transformation scene. It is fantastic.
Yeah, I would say that also the transformation scenes in Bhediya was amazing. I really give big props to the VFX. I mean, it's astounding to me how much special effects in Indian movies and CGI has improved so much, because I remember like back in the day when you had like Koi Mil Gaya and movies like that. And, you were like, this is terrible. Although I have a soft spot for that movie, but still. And the VFX have just gotten better and better. I think the last movie I saw where I was like, I really liked the fake animals was RRR. I really enjoyed all of those like animals that came and did all the mayhem.
They were so fake.
But I enjoyed them.
Yes, I enjoyed them too. That was my favorite part of the film for sure.
But I love the wolves also in Bhediya. They were so good. Like the VFX were really good. This is such a fun movie, you guys. You have to watch it. It is the best. And I really love that I saw it in the theater because it was such a great like big screen experience. It was a lot of fun. There's also like a Himesh Reshammiya inside joke that people will enjoy. It's really good.
We were talking about Himesh Reshammiya in the Khandan podcast too, because we watched the trailer for whatever this thing is that he's trying to launch.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's back. He's making a movie.
He's terrible. He actually thinks he's like this like stud admi, like I'm so hot, you guys, and I'm like, you're not. I used to actually follow him on Instagram until I couldn't take it anymore. But the reason I used to follow him on Instagram is because he would do these like Insta lives where he basically didn't do anything. This is all he did. This is the extent of Himesh Reshammiya's Insta live. He would come like this, doing what he thinks were come hither bedroom eyes. Not really very come hither, but he would do this. And then he would say, good night, guys. And I was like, but I watched it just for that because he would blow kisses. And he's like convinced that he is like the hottest, like he's like God's gift to womankind. So I followed him because like I kind of like hate watched all of his Insta lives, and also because I think it would be so amazing to have that level of confidence. Imagine having Himesh Reshammiya's confidence where you're like, I am the mom. How many people feel that way? Every time I have like an attack of self-esteem and I'm like, I'm imposter syndrome or I think I'm not good enough, I'm like, think of Himesh Reshammiya. What would Himesh Reshammiya do? That's right. Himesh Reshammiya would be like,
I can see the t-shirt WWHRD with a little,
Yes, with the pout.
I have never liked him. I hate his voice. Not a fan.
No, I don't like him either. But there is this one song of his that I'm very ashamed to say and admit that I actually enjoy. It's very catchy. It's Jhalak Dikhla Ja.
Which is that from one of the films? I can't remember.
Yeah, but it's
one.
like, I think it's like the first song of his that really like catapulted him to like whatever. Because it's like pretty catchy. I'm sure you've heard it. It's the one that
Probably.
goes, "Jhalak dikhla ja, jhalak dikhla ja."
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad, but it's also very catchy. It's one of those earworm songs. Like if you hear it in the morning, God help you, because you're going to be singing that all week.
After watching the trailer of his, or the video from whatever this is that he's doing, I had another of his, like, you know, we were trying to debate like what's the peak year for him. It's like 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. Like, so I had some things like lodged in my head for quite a while that I won't bring it up so as to spare us all. But
nice.
So for monster movies and India, first of all, I have two questions for you. One, what kind of animal would you like to see in a transforming film next?
Definitely some kind of big jungly mammal, but like I'm done with snakes. I don't want no more snakes. Maybe like a lion or something. A bear would be nice.
A werebear?
Imagine a big gigantic bear. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
Because I don't want to see an elephant because they're really pretty.
I love elephants.
And adorable.
They're not going to do anything bad.
Yeah, so you can't have an elephant do that. You
also,
need
they don't have claws.
Yeah, you need something carnivorous and danger and something that has like might. A bear is it.
A bear would be great. Okay.
Let's do that.
And then my next question for you is, if you are a new listener to our podcast, you don't know that Pitu is a very avid fantasy recaster. And she loves to make up her own casting for films. So who would you put in your werebear?
I should be a casting director, you guys.
Who's going to go in your werebear film?
In my werebear film.
And who can, who's going to write it? Who's going to direct it? Who's doing the music?
I'm going to write it. Let's write it. Let's write it together and let's find all the pocket change and everything that we have in our sofas and let's make a movie based on that. We'll just like crowdfund and crowdsource this movie. We'll get people to like work with us and everything. Nice. So Joy can provide the music.
Yes.
So we'll have Joy play like guitar and everything. But for my werebear film, let's say, I do like Varun Dhawan very much. I think he would be good, but I also want Hrithik Roshan in there. I think it could be like a clash of Hrithik Roshan versus Varun Dhawan, and then like, good versus evil. But then because I love Hrithik Roshan so much, I want him to eventually be on the side of the werebear. Or Hrithik Roshan could be the werebear.
Okay.
And Varun Dhawan, but I want Hrithik Roshan in there somehow. And I also want there to be like a lady who's very like boss woman. And this boss woman can be like Vidya Balan. I think she would be amazing. Right? Like she's great. So we got to have her, and she has to have like a powerful role. Maybe she's like a police sergeant, or like she's like in the army, something powerful. And she's like boss lady, and she has to like make sense of everything that's going on. But yes, I would like Vidya Balan in there. Speaking of boss ladies, this show was so good, but talk about starting off with a bang and ending with a whimper. But have you seen this streaming show called Aranyak?
I have. I loved it until the last 10 minutes. I will not spoil, but I remember it was like they had this amazing balloon and then they let all the air out of it. Yeah. I know not everyone felt that way. And
really?
There's some people, certainly friends I know through Twitter and things, who are big, horror fans who were okay with it. I was very much not okay with it. It is up there with Talash for films whose explanation and all, I was just like, no.
Yeah. So bad.
I was actually thinking I might try to rewatch that sometime soon, because again, mind like a goldfish. I don't remember quite a bit of it, but I turned it on yesterday just to refresh just a bit. And I was like, oh, this is so good, because Parambrata Chatterjee in Hindi films is always so good. And he's good in Bengali stuff too, but he's better in Hindi stuff, in my opinion. And he's super good in this. He's so delightful. The forest and all is beautiful. It has like the right amount of characters. So like things intersect, and it's a little confusing, but not too confusing. I really love it. People should watch it if they have not.
So like atmospheric and eerie, and the word that kept popping into my mind, which is not a word, it's a name. It was Ruskin Bond. It just had like this very like Ruskin Bondish vibe, and I love Ravina Tandon in it. I mean, I know her character like keeps slapping people, but let's face it, I'm bloodthirsty, so I enjoy the fact that she kept slapping people for no reason.
And she had every as much as anyone has the right to slap somebody, justified.
Yeah. But she was so good in that show. She was fire, and I feel like they need to give her more roles. And she looked hot in that like police uniform with like the beret like thing that they wear. Like she was so good in it. I love the scenes remember the scenes where she and her husband clearly have like a marriage that's like going down the tubes, but she buys that like lingerie or that whatever in red lace. I mean, those scenes were so beautifully done. And she was just like amazing. So I feel like in this Where movie, I wonder if Raveena could also have a really good role in it. But then I don't know what Vidya would do. I don't know.
They can be like
a team.
Yeah, and like top command and then second in command. Yeah. And maybe they like
Raveena could be like an investigative reporter or something.
I just want to say I'm tired of women having to be a plucky reporter to have a role in something. And we just talked about that with Fauji. Like,
yeah,
it's such a trope, but could she could be some, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a woman journalist, and it's just been done a lot. So if we could do something else, I'd be for that. But if nothing else, then yes, reporter.
She could be a scientist.
I like that better.
But see, here's the thing. It's Raveena Tandon. She's a must girl. I want her to go around slapping people. Scientists just don't do that, man.
Scientists, maybe Vidya can be the scientist.
She can be the scientist.
Because she's been a mathematician and she's been a astrophysicist or whatever, right? So she can be the scientist.
This can be like her science trifecta movie. So so let's cast Vidya Balan as the scientist, and she can give a good tongue lashing.
And she can be like Agent Scully. She's like she'll be like Agent Scully.
Yes.
I like that for her.
I love this movie.
I like this for all of us.
We even need the men in it. I mean, we don't even really need Varun and Hrithik anymore.
I was going to ask, like, in my limited experience with Where transformation films, women transform into snakes, but that's about it, right? Women don't tend to get to be the monster. My experience is limited. I'm sure there are things I don't know. But I would like to see a woman get to be the Were monster.
Okay, here's the thing. Vidya as the journalist, Vidya as the scientist, Raveena as the police or army person, whatever, with like fatigues and everything, or like a commando or something cool like that. And then Konkana as the werebear.
Twist. I love it.
Konkana can be the werebear.
She sure can.
This is such a good idea, Beth. Like
maybe she'd direct it too.
No, then it'll be like Fauji, with like the commander is also the cinematographer is also the actor. So I don't know. She can write it. She can co-write it.
A Death in the Gunge plus Fauji equals Pitu's Werebear film.
I'm so excited for this. I love monster movies so much. They're like the best genre on the planet.
Where is it going to be set?
Where will the werebear be located? I want it to be a part of India that we don't get to see on cinema. Because, see, this is the other thing that I really loved about Bhediya, that they set it and shot it in Arunachal Pradesh. I loved about Aranyak, even though the end was so awful, is that they set it in Himachal Pradesh, although we have seen HP in movies, but still. So I don't want this to be set in any place I've seen or heard of. I want it to be set. Can it be shot in Coorg?
Yes.
They don't show Coorg a lot.
Wherever you want.
Let's shoot it in Coorg, and then when we're on set and stuff, we can go and get like good food and stuff. So let's do it Coorg. It's also not that super far from Mumbai, so I'm just thinking about the practicalities here. We'll shoot it in Coorg. Hopefully,
I mean, our budget is not massive, so we do need to think about these things.
We could go stay at Amrita's house in Bangalore and like trek back and forth.
Just what she wants.
What did you like Stree as well?
Oh yes, very much. I liked Stree so much that I actually showed it for an event for my museum where I work. Nice. During the first couple months, in the first summer of COVID, we did a lot of online programming. So we did Netflix parties and we watched. We had an accidental Rajkumar Rao film series. We did that, and we did Ek Ladki and one more that I forget. But yeah, so that was, and I showed it to quite a few people, and everyone really enjoyed it. And yeah,
That's a good one.
I really love Street. I liked Ruhi also. I know you did not. And don't ask me to tell you anything about Ruhi because I watched it. I enjoyed it. I forgot it instantly, but I enjoyed it.
I wanted to love Ruhi, I will say, because anything creepy or horror I'm always game for that. And I do love Rajkumar Rao also. The thing about Ruhi, and also I like the other actor. I always forget his name for some reason, but the other guy with Rajkumar Rao in Ruhi, I liked him. The thing that really let down Ruhi for me was Janvi Kapoor because she was just so catatonic. So yeah, she ruined it for me. But I wanted to like it, but yeah. But Stree was really good. And I hope that there is like a sequel to Stree because the way they ended it, I was like, they've got I don't know when it's coming out though.
No.
Bhediya has this one song that they showed at the end in the credits because it's completely irrelevant to the movie. And it has like a tiny, like a special appearance by Shraddha Kapoor. The song is called Tumkeshwari. It's very forgettable and stupid. But Shraddha Kapoor comes for like just 2 seconds and she was fire. She looks so good in that song. So they did like a little Stree kind of like a crossover.
I just am resistant to her. I'm like Teflon when it comes to her. I don't hate her, but I don't think she brings anything of interest to anything that I've seen her do. She's not actively horrible. I really don't think in what I've seen her in, but anyone who wants to argue there's no nepotism need look no further than her career, in my opinion. Like, and her dad is who her dad is. Like, if she can get the career she has because of who her dad is, then come on now for the people who come from, more reputable lines, so to speak.
Right.
I don't know.
The funny thing about Shraddha Kapoor is that I've only ever seen one Shraddha Kapoor movie, and that's actually Stree. Because none of her films, I've never seen any of her other movies because they're just not appealing to me. Like I know like Ashiki 2 and all of those. I was just always like, whatever. And then hasn't she done 1 or 2 movies with Tiger Shroff? I've never watched a Tiger Shroff movie in my life. She just,
I can't remember.
Her movies are not interesting to me. So except for Stree, I've never seen her in anything. She comes across as very vanilla, but she's cute, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Are there people who could do the same things much better? Yes, absolutely. But whatever. So, I mean, like, and she wouldn't be in this song if it were not for the, Maddock horror comedy universe, obviously, but that's okay.
Yeah. This movie also has a really, really, really good song. It's basically like, it's not like a great song musically, but it's so funny because the lyrics have to do with, those inane ways in which we talk with our friends, where it's like, you could have just had like this gigantic meltdown and you've been crying for like 2 hours, but some friend of yours calls and they're like, hey, how are you doing? And you're like, I'm okay. How are you? And they're like, I'm okay. It's all fine. There's inanities. So this song has to do with those lyrics, and it's how their little like road trip sort of starts in Arunachal. It's so good. It's like really genius, this song. And I feel like I'm going to keep listening to it over the next few days. But I would definitely highly recommend that people watch Bhediya, including you, in the theater, because it really is a very good theater experience. I mean, people enjoy it on streaming as well, but I think just the special effects make it worth it. And then would you recommend the 2 movies that you were referencing? Takana, I think you said, and Junoon, right?
I mean, Junoon for sure. It is I think it probably counts as a classic. I think you should see it. I think everyone should see it. I don't particularly recommend this specific Ramsay Brothers film that I watched. There are others I have enjoyed more that have made more of an impact on me.
Which is your favorite Ramsay Brother movie?
I knew you were going to say that. I'm going to have to look up all the titles, but there's one. Okay. I'm so sorry to all my friends who love these films that I don't have this man's name. There is I'm so embarrassed. I can't think of this man's name. Is it Ajay Agarwal? That there's an actor who plays like the big scary monster character in a lot of their movies. Yeah. He's really tall. He's really enjoyable and, much beloved, obviously, and among people who love these films. he's quite good. So I would choose one that he is in, and don't ask me which ones those are because I don't remember. There's also a really good book about the Ramsay brothers written by a friend of mine, Samya Dasgupta, that you should definitely read if you're into this kind of thing. But it's fascinating to think about how they actually went about making these films as well, because it's a fit when you watch the credits for Ramsay Brothers films, right? There's like 8 of them working in all these different departments of the film. So this is a family business in a way that's a little different than we think of like films being a family business. So it's fascinating from that perspective as well. Like you're in the 70s and 80s, Bombay trying to make movies that don't have big, huge stars in them, or at least current big stars. It's really fascinating. So check that out.
And you're kind of seen as like B grade and sleazy and all of those things, right? Yeah. I mean, I've seen so many bits and pieces and snippets of Ramsay Brothers movies just because they would be playing late night in India on TV. I mean, it would be like past 10 o'clock sometimes on some of the cable channels, they would show it. So I would always catch it like in the middle. And I would watch it for like 10, 15 minutes and then like switch it off or whatever. So I've never actually seen a Ramsay Brothers film from start to finish or like sought one out. I've only seen what the cable TV channel showed me.
Purana Mandir is one of the classics, and that one I would recommend to you. And that does star the actor I was trying to think of, whose name I have gotten incorrect, so please let me correct it. It's Anirudh Agarwal.
Okay.
He plays the monster. So you should watch that one. And that's there is a DVD company called oh God, why didn't I look this up? Mondo Macabro. And they've done actually nice releases on DVD with subtitles of 6, I believe, of the Ramsay Brothers films. So if you're have trouble getting your hands on one streaming, there's this technology called DVDs that existed. It's really good because then you own the movie and no company can take it away from you. So like, it's a really good investment if you're into this kind of thing. Pro DVDs. And then you can lend them to your friends also, which is nice if you have any friends who would like to watch.
But then you have to tell your friends to return them back, because then they might not, and then you'll get upset and you'll yell at them. People have done that, and then I've yelled at them. And this is how you know the difference between a filmy person and a non-filmy person, by the way. This is how you know that the filmy person, i.e. myself, gets very upset when you don't return their DVD that they care very, very much about. And then you minimize their distress by saying, chill, it's just a movie. And then the filmy person says, what do you mean? Those are fighting words. And then there's like, and you go to war with them. And then the non-filmy people badmouth you to everybody who is equally non-filmy. And all the non-filmy people band against the filmy person. Okay, this is getting very personal now. But you understand my pain, Beth.
I do. And then you talk to another filmy friend who burns you a copy of the DVD and then orders somewhat restored.
Yes.
Only
and then
somewhat.
Again, there's like, maybe this should also be a project we could do. It could be like a battle of filmy versus non-filmy people. But we'll do it after the werewolf movie.
Yeah.
We'll use the profits from the werewolf movie.
Maybe the werebear is going to go after the non-filmy people. That's who the werebear attacks.
That is so genius.
For reasons. I don't know what reasons, but you will figure that out.
Werebears don't need reasons. Werebears are werebears. They're mythical creatures. They're beasts. They don't.
But this weretiger, like, you know, is well, no, but that's not who he kills. That's who he inhabits. All right. That's
so the image behind you, is that a human being wearing a mask?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
100%. I mean, look at the eyes, right? I know it's kind of small on your screen, but the eyes, yeah.
I mean, small. I don't want it to be bigger.
There are real tigers in Junoon, but they are just sort of walking around, not right next to any of the action.
A fun trivia that I read about Game of Thrones, because I was reading about the dire wolves because I love them so much, is that a lot of times, not just in Game of Thrones, but just in movies and TV shows in general, when they want to show like wolves, because you can't actually shoot with wolves, what they do is they take dogs. So they'll take dogs like Malamutes or Huskies that kind of sort of look like wolves, and then they will shoot with them. But the trouble is that they still have to like splice together images of tails, because most of those dogs are so happy to be on set and they're so excited that they keep wagging their tails. So you can't have that. So they'll usually, like, the body is of a dog, but then the tail has to be like spliced together somehow to make it all work. So I was like, oh, isn't that like the cutest doggy thing you've ever heard. Also, one of the fun things about this movie, like Bhediya made me feel so many different emotions because it started with like thanking the dogs of like the actor, producer, director, which I loved. But then within the first 10 minutes of the movie, Varun Dhawan's character, Bhaskar, he says that he's not scared of dogs. He hates dogs. And I was like, okay, I hate you. You suck. So I already didn't like you because you were the city slicker who's obsessed with money and you want to go tear down the forest of Arunachal Pradesh. So I was anyway not on your side. But now by saying that you hate dogs, I truly do dislike you. However, during the course of the film, he starts to like and enjoy dogs.
Okay.
So at first I was like, you suck. And then I was like, you are awesome. So you feel a lot of different emotions in this movie, but overall you will love it. You should watch it. This is very much a movie for animal lovers.
Before we close, is there any other film coming in the rest of 2022 such that we've got 5 more weeks of this year left? Is there anything else releasing that you're really excited about? Because for me, this was excited. Like the peak of what was coming.
I don't think there's any more movies that are coming to the theaters that I'm thinking about, but I do want to watch Kala, which is releasing on December 1st. It's coming straight to streaming, and it has Tripti Dimri, which in a previous episode we were bitching about how we desperately want to see more of her and why don't we see enough of her. And the movie, whatever, it's been made by the same person who made Bulbul. Anvita Dutt. Yeah. So
and
I'm very
excited.
It
also stars Swastika Mukherjee, who is an amazing Bengali actress.
I think she plays her mom in it or something.
Yeah. If you saw Detective Pankaj Bakshi, she plays the film star in that, which is probably where she's most familiar to Hindi film audiences as a Bengali film watcher as well. I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. I think she's excellent. She's also amusing on Twitter and Instagram, by the way.
She's very funny on Instagram. I like her.
Yeah. And I always enjoy what she's wearing. Cause I'm like, I need to learn about outfits.
Yeah.
So yeah, and hopefully we will both get to see it and we're hoping to get to do an episode on it. We're trying not to book ourselves or announce topics in the podcast because something may happen that we don't get to do it. But since this is on Netflix and we'll be in our very own homes, we're pretty sure that will be the episode after this one. And we are excited.
The other thing I'm excited about, Kala, is that based on the promos that I've seen, all the outfits in it look really pretty.
And for those who don't know, like Pitu here she works in fashion. So It's not just her being like, this outfit is pretty, like she knows what she's talking about. And so that is, we should do more episodes about outfits and wardrobe and everything.
We really do need to do an episode about outfits. And I've not forgotten about the conversation we were having about types of hot. For people who don't know, Beth and I are extremely superficial people, and our friendship is based on superficial topics. So one time we were discussing kinds of hot. So there's, for example, there's the Shah Rukh Khan hot, there's the Irfan hot, there's the Hrithik Roshan hot. So, we need to talk about that. And then we still need to do our episode. Remember that we were talking about facial hair.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm a connoisseur of Shah Rukh and French beards. So yes, there are many, many such topics, aesthetic topics that we need to talk about. I'm not a fan of hair. That. No.
All right. Well, since we've devolved into, we will end this episode here. And I will say thank you all for listening / watching. Please leave us lots of comments about your favorite monster movies, whether Indian or otherwise. Like, share, and subscribe if you are game to do so. And we will see you the next time on Filmy Ladies. Bye.
And please watch Bhediya in the theater. It's really awesome. Please go watch it because I need to talk about it with someone. Spoiler free.
Subscribe to our podcast, then go watch the movie, then come back and leave us comments about Bhediya.
Yay!